Joining me right now is the chairman and CEO of Eli Lilly. Dave Ricks is with us. Dave, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And how refreshing to see you in your lab coat as you begin breaking ground on a $4.5 billion site for drug and medicine production for clinical trials. Thank you for being here, Dave. I know you met with President Trump last week, right? Before we get to the new plant, tell me about your meeting with the president.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Today I'm visiting one of our labs here in Indianapolis, and as you mentioned, later today we're doing the big groundbreaking. Yeah, we were at the White House last week to talk about, with other industries as well as many pharma companies, the expansion of manufacturing in the U.S. And it was good to see yesterday the executive order streamlining that process, which, as you know, regulatory delay can take up to half the time to produce a new site. So that's slowing us down. We need to go faster than that in America. And we're pleased to see that news because Lilly's currently building 6 new sites and about to announce 4 more. So just in time for the work we need to do.
Dave, that is wonderful. We talk all the time about permitting reform. President Trump knows all about it, and he came out during his first term and cut the red tape and said it's a beautiful thing to have deregulation. Everybody took notice. You're breaking ground today on this new $4.5 billion site. You want to produce drugs and medicine for clinical trials. Tell us about that. This is a big milestone for Eli Lilly as well as for America.
It is. It's a unique, really first of its kind site. So today I'm at our Lilly Technology Center, where we take molecules that have been invented in labs and we scale them up. We turn them into medicines at scale, from test tube to factory size. And we're going to do that same work in a much more expanded and technologically enabled way just north of here, 20 miles or so north of where I'm standing today, at our Lilly Medicine Foundry. So the idea, just like turning ingots of metal into useful tools, we're going to take basic chemicals and turn them into tools for medicine to cure disease. And that's going to happen just up the road. It's a $4.5 billion site, part of our $50 billion expansion plan. There'll be hundreds of new jobs there, high-paying scientific, engineering, and operator jobs. And it's just one chapter in what is about 10 new expansions going on in the U.S. For Lilly to bring medicine production back home. And in this case, it's not just the production, it's the development of the technology to produce at scale, along with making medicines for our clinical trials, which have to speed up as well. So this is a big strategic move, really a first of its kind site in the U.S. And once again, Lilly is leading the way here in investing in America.
Well, you sure are. And Dave, thank you for answering the call to this, because we're all concerned about the fact that so much of our underlying components for our prescription drugs are made in China. How soon can we change that?
Well, as soon as we can get this plant built. So a lot of that work you're talking about is really the chemical industry that has migrated off our shores into Asian markets like China. And we rely on that as a innovative pharmaceutical industry, as well as the generic industry, to make the components of what makes medicine. Here at the Medicine Foundry, which we're making, and amongst the other major investments Lilly's making, particularly those active pharmaceutical ingredient plants we're building. There's a big one going up right near this plant we're announcing today, and 2 more to be announced later this year. We're bringing that work back here to the U.S. That's critical because, first of all, they're great jobs. Secondly, it's close to the market that is so important to us, which is the U.S. market. And finally, just if there is a national security concern or an economic problem, we'll have that capability right here in America.
That is so huge. What kind of job creation are you expecting as a result of all of this?
Well, our whole program, again, it's $50 billion in capital. That's over 10,000 new manufacturing type jobs and science jobs, and then over 25,000 construction jobs. So I want to stress that as well, because putting up these sites is technically very difficult, and we're working with electrical workers, plumbers, steel workers. We're actually bringing them in from around the country to these mega sites we're putting up, and it's really a boom for the construction industry. The president's executive order directing the FDA and EPA to speed up their process to get out of the way, let this work happen quickly, is so important to that effort. So we're pleased to see that and excited to work with all those building trades around the country to get the Lilly sites put together.
Yeah, I want to get back to deregulation in a moment because it is so critical to growth at Lilly and growth across the industry. But let me get your take on what you reported just recently in your earnings report, revealing that now Lilly holds a 53% share of the GLP-1 market. You passed Novo Nordisk for the first time. This category of drugs is soaring, and you are the lion's share in terms of market share. How big of an opportunity will this be for Lilly?
Well, it's a huge opportunity for Lilly, but also for society. As you may know, obesity is
That's right.
something that afflicts about 40% of adults and drives 200 chronic diseases. So when people talk about the chronic disease crisis, like Secretary Kennedy, one of the major drivers is adult obesity. And we now have solutions for that we are scaling and making available to Americans. We still need to work on payment and reimbursement. Too often, insurance schemes, including the federal one, don't include these drugs. We'd like to fix that. But for those that have access, these are game-changing medicines that improve not only the way they look, but more importantly, their long-term health status. And Lilly's leading this effort in the U.S., as you mentioned. As we exit April, we're making up about 2/3 of new patient starts in the obesity segment, blowing past our competitors. And these are medicines invented here in Indianapolis. Tirzepatide, the ingredient in Zepbound and Mounjaro, is a true breakthrough. And actually, the building I'm standing in is where they perfected that process. And you may, as you know, last time we talked, Maria, we also have an oral pill, a GLP-1 pill coming probably next year. That also was worked on here in this laboratory I'm standing in. So these people are doing a great job for us and making really weight control a choice, a capability that anyone can have within their reach in the U.S. Again, we need to work on insurance. We're going to bring the cost down through time, and we're going to build factories to make this at scale, not just for Americans, but for the world. So it's a great opportunity for Lilly and an even better one for the health of Americans.
I mean, it's unbelievable the impact these drugs have had, especially since many people and your engineers and scientists as well have said that they also are helping avoid and push back on things like heart disease, even Alzheimer's. I mean, it's incredible. But Dave, what do you want to say to skeptics out there who say that there are side effects? They don't think that there's been enough time on the market to actually understand the downside risks. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I think, first of all, you're pointing out something important, which is managing weight. Whether you do it with diet and exercise, in the past people had surgeries for this, and now you can treat it pretty effectively with medicine, has profound impact on other chronic disease. So we've had studies that show reduction in sleep apnea, that's now indicated, in heart failure, in other types of heart disease, and even diabetes prevention. So this can have a profound impact on your long-term health, and it's important to keep your weight in check. If you need a medicine to do that, we've got great tools for that. Now, people do say, are there side effects? Of course. The most common ones are just GI upset. That's actually how the drug works in a way, so it's not surprising that that happens. There are some people with hereditary conditions or other prior health conditions who should not take these medicines. That's clearly identified in our label, and we communicate that to doctors. So one important thing is people, I think, too often are going online and trying to access these without their physician. It's important to work with your physician to access a prescription drug, especially something like Zepbound, who can advise you of those risks. But it's important also to note, we've been using, Lilly launched the first GLP-1 in the world 20 years ago. And so we have a lot of experience. That millions of people have used these medicines over time. We're pretty confident in their broad safety.
Very, very important points that you make, Dave. Congrats on an incredible quarter. And thank you for answering the call.
Thank you.
To produce in America and continue to do so. Good to see you this morning, sir. Dave Ricks is the chairman and CEO of Eli Lilly. Thank you, sir.